Welcome to our deep dive all about marketing metrics.
Yes.
We're going to be taking a look at Marketing Metrics, the fourth edition by Bendle, Farris, Pfeifer, and Reibstein.
Ah,
It is such a rich book, full of so much information, and we really want to help you extract the most valuable insights and then figure out how to actually use these in your business.
yeah. It's one thing to track metrics, but it's a whole nother thing to really understand what they're telling you about your business. And I think this book does a really fantastic job of bridging that gap.
Totally. Like, we're going to be looking at how to measure intangible things like brand equity. And we're going to be diving into why sometimes more promotion doesn't actually mean more sales. And we're going to look at how customer lifetime value can really change the way you think about acquisition versus retention.
Yeah, it really flips the script on a lot of common assumptions. Why don't we start with some of those kind of foundational metrics that are often misunderstood, things like margins and markups.
Yes.
A lot of people use those terms interchangeably, but they mean very different things.
Yes, and the t-shirt example from the book really drove that point home for me. So you imagine you buy a t-shirt for $10 and then mark it up 50% to sell it at $15. Does that automatically mean you're making a $5 profit on each shirt?
Right. Well, not necessarily,
Okay.
because that 50% markup is only on the cost, not the selling price. And you have other expenses that are eating into that. And then if you have to discount that shirt to, say, $12, all of a sudden your margin shrinks dramatically.
Right. It all makes much more sense. So really being clear on the difference between markup and margin is crucial for calculating profit accurately.
Absolutely. Let's shift to another one that we hear a lot but may not fully grasp, and that is market share. It's more than just bragging rights. It's a really valuable indicator of where you stand in the market.
Yeah.
And this book breaks it down into three key components: penetration, share of requirements, and usage index.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more about those components
Yeah.
and how they can help businesses uncover those growth opportunities.
Okay, so let's say you're a coffee brand. Penetration is how many people in that total coffee drinking market buy your coffee. And then share of requirements looks at how much of a customer's coffee spending goes to your brand. Like, are they loyal to you, or are they spreading their coffee love around? And then the usage index compares how much your customers buy on average to the average coffee consumption of the whole market.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this goes beyond just, trying to grab a bigger slice of an existing pie.
Right.
Can you give me maybe like a hypothetical scenario to illustrate how these work together?
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine your penetration is low. Only 10% of coffee drinkers are buying your brand. But for those who DO buy your brand, their share of requirements is really high. So 80% of their coffee spending is on your product. And your usage index shows that your customers drink twice as much coffee as the average consumer. So this tells you there is a huge GE potential in attracting more customers, because once they try your coffee, they really stick with you.
That's such a good example. It really highlights how understanding these different components can help you identify the most effective growth strategy. Now let's shift to something that I find particularly fascinating, which is customer metrics. And I think we're not just talking about counting heads here, right?
Definitely not. It's about recognizing that not all customers are created equal. And the first thing is really defining what a customer means for your business. If you think about banks, is each branch considered a customer, or is the entire corporation the true customer?
Yeah, it's such a good point, because I think the definition of a customer can have a really big impact on how you analyze and use the data.
For sure. And then you have this fascinating whale curve concept,
Yeah.
which visually represents customer profitability.
Okay.
So it really allows you to see how the value of your customer base is distributed.
So it's not as simple as assuming that, every customer brings in the same amount of revenue?
No, not at all. The whale curve shows that a small percentage of your customers might be generating a huge portion of your profits. Those are your whales. And others might be breaking even, and some might even be costing you money.
That's such an eye-opening visual. How can businesses actually apply this concept to, improve their marketing strategies?
Well, it really helps you to focus on attracting and retaining those high-value customers, the whales, that are really driving your profitability. But it also prompts you to analyze, why are some customers less profitable? Can you improve their profitability, or is it better to focus your resources elsewhere?
So this really shifts the focus from, just acquiring as many customers as possible to acquiring the right customers, the ones who will truly contribute to your long-term success.
Right, and that leads us to another key metric, customer lifetime value, or CLV. And this is moving beyond past profits and helping you predict the future value of a customer relationship.
Okay, tell me why this is so important.
So let's say you have two customers who both spent $100 with your business. One has been a loyal customer for years and consistently makes purchases. The other one is brand new and was drawn in by a one-time discount. Using CLV, you can see that that loyal long-term customer is likely to be much more valuable in the long run. They're likely to spend more over their lifetime as your customer, even if their initial purchase was the same as the newer customer.
So it gives you a much more holistic view of customer value
Yeah,
than simply looking at past transactions.
exactly. It really helps you understand that long-term impact of customer relationships and make better decisions about how you allocate your marketing resources.
That's incredibly valuable. And this leads to the question of acquisition versus retention. How does CLV help us decide where to invest our marketing dollars?
Yeah, and the book gives this really striking example using a pest control company, where they found it could cost 4 times more to acquire a new customer than to retain an existing one. So CLV helps you see that investing in retaining those high-value, loyal customers can be way more cost-effective than constantly chasing new ones.
Wow, that's a huge difference. It really underscores the importance of building those strong customer relationships and focusing on retention strategies.
Absolutely. Nurturing those high CLV customers should be a top priority for any business looking for sustained growth and profitability.
This has been such a great deep dive into some foundational metrics, and it's really amazing how much clarity these concepts bring to understanding your business. But we've only scratched the surface. Coming up next, we're going to explore the intriguing world of pricing and promotion and uncover some surprising insights along the way.
Yes, stay tuned. Building those strong customer relationships and really understanding their value is really foundational. But let's shift gears a little bit and talk about something that I think often feels like kind of a guessing game, which is pricing.
Okay.
It's more than just slapping a number on a product. It's really a strategic lever that can make or break your success.
Pricing has always seemed a little bit mysterious to me, like a blend of art and science. Is there a way to kind of take the guesswork out of it?
There is. And this book brings up this concept of reservation price, which is that maximum a customer is willing to pay for something. And really understanding that is a game changer when you're setting your prices.
Right. So if you can figure out that magic number, you can maximize your revenue
Yeah,
without, pricing yourself out of the market.
exactly. It's about finding that balance.
Mm-mm.
And to help visualize this, the book talks about this price waterfall.
A price waterfall?
Yeah, so picture this. You start at the top with your list price, your asking price. And then as you descend the waterfall, you factor in all those things that reduce that price. Discounts, rebates, channel markdowns, all those things.
Right. So you're seeing that journey from the initial price to the final price. Exactly. And this journey, the price waterfall, is crucial for forecasting revenue accurately. It helps you avoid those nasty surprises when you realize, hey, we're not making as much as we thought we would.
Nobody likes those financial surprises. Speaking of surprises, the promotion pitfalls section really caught my eye
Oh, yeah.
because it challenges this assumption that, more promotions equals more sales.
Right.
Well-
It's such a common belief, but it can be a trap. The book explains how excessive promotions can actually create this downward spiral where everyone loses in the end.
Okay, so how does this downward spiral work?
Well, when customers are constantly bombarded with promotions, they start expecting those discounts, and they become less willing to pay full price. So this squeezes retailers' margins. Even manufacturers, while they're selling more volume, they might end up with lower overall profits.
So it's this, delicate balancing act. Promotions can be a good tool, but they need to be used strategically. Absolutely. The key is to understand the potential downsides and then use promotions judiciously rather than relying on them as a crutch. Now let's talk about something seemingly less tangible, brand equity.
Okay.
A lot of people think it's this fuzzy concept impossible to measure, but this book begs to differ.
Yeah, I've always wondered, how do you put a number on brand value? It just seems so abstract.
Yeah, while brand equity might feel intangible, there are actually several methods for quantifying it. The book explores 5 in particular: brand equity, 10 brand asset valuator, brand finance, brand Z, and interbrand.
Wow, those all sound very official. Do they involve complex algorithms and secret formulas?
They're sophisticated, but it essentially boils down to this: capturing the premium a strong brand commands in the market, whether that's through higher prices or increased sales volume or a combination of both.
So a strong brand can actually defy or at least bend the laws of supply and demand, meaning you can charge more and people will still buy it.
Because of that value they associate with your brand. Yeah, you get a strong brand builds trust and loyalty even those emotional connections that make people more likely to choose your product, even if there's a similar product at a lower price. Think about Apple. People are willing to pay a premium for their products because of that perceived quality and innovation in design.
It's so powerful. It makes me think about my own purchasing decisions and which brands I gravitate towards. Now, there's another tool mentioned in the book that I'm curious about. Conjoint analysis. What exactly is that? And how does it help us understand consumer preferences?
Oh, conjoint analysis is a fantastic technique for uncovering what product attributes consumers value most and how they make trade-offs between those attributes. It's like peeking into their decision-making process.
Okay, so instead of just guessing what customers want, you can use conjoint analysis to get concrete data on their preferences.
Exactly. So imagine you're developing a new smartphone. Conjoint analysis could help you figure out, are consumers willing to pay more for a bigger screen, a longer battery life, or a faster processor? You'd present them with these different combinations of features and prices, and then analyze their choices to reveal those underlying preferences.
So you're essentially running experiments to see how consumers respond to different product configurations.
Exactly. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to understanding consumer behavior. The book even touches on some really cutting-edge techniques like using neuroscience in marketing.
Neuroscience, like brain scans and measuring brain activity, that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it might sound futuristic, but it's becoming more and more prevalent. Technologies like EEG and facial coding can provide incredible insights into those subconscious responses. Things like emotional reactions, attention levels, even memory recall.
Wow, so marketers can actually see how our brains react to different marketing messages and stimuli. That's both amazing and a little bit unnerving.
Yeah, it's a rapidly evolving field with incredible potential. But it also raises some important ethical considerations about how this information is used. But for now, let's bring our focus back down to earth and talk about the more practical aspects of digital marketing metrics.
Okay.
The digital world is an ever-changing landscape. With this constant deluge of data,
I know it's a lot.
it is. So where do we even begin to make sense of it all?
Yeah, it can feel really overwhelming.
Yeah, the key is to approach it strategically and focus on those metrics that are most relevant to your business goals. And the book does a great job of kind of breaking down this complex world into manageable pieces, starting with the basics, like understanding website traffic.
Okay, so website traffic, what are some of the key metrics there that we should be tracking?
Well, the book goes beyond just simple page views and encourages us to look at metrics like unique visitors and bounce rate to give you a much clearer picture of how engaging your website is and whether people are finding what they're looking for.
Right, bounce rate. That's the one that tells you how many people are leaving your site after viewing only one page.
That's it. And a high bounce rate can be a red flag. It might indicate that your website's not resonating with visitors, or the content isn't relevant to what they're looking for. Or maybe the user experience is just clunky and frustrating.
It's like that feeling when you walk into a store and immediately turn around and walk back out.
Right. Not a good sign.
No, not a good sign.
But it's not a reason to panic either. It's valuable information. It's telling you that something needs to change.
So it's a diagnostic tool, helping you pinpoint those areas for improvement.
Exactly. Now, once you get people to your website, the next step is getting them to take action. And that's where conversion rates come in.
Right. So conversion rates, that's all about measuring how many website visitors are actually doing what you want them to do, whether it's making a purchase, signing up for a newsletter, or downloading a white paper.
You got it. Conversion rates are crucial because they measure the effectiveness of your website in driving those specific business goals.
And I imagine these metrics become even more critical in the world of e-commerce.
Oh, absolutely. For online businesses, conversion rates are the lifeblood. The book dives into some e-commerce specific metrics, like shopping cart abandonment rate. And this can help you identify those points in the checkout process that are causing people to leave without completing their purchase.
Like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for marketers to follow.
Exactly. It could be a complicated checkout process, unexpected shipping costs, or even a lack of trust in the website's security. But by analyzing these metrics, you can optimize the user experience, improve your conversion rates, and ultimately lead to more sales.
It's all about removing those roadblocks and making it as easy as possible for people to do business with you. Now let's talk about another essential part of the digital marketing landscape, email marketing.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like email has been around forever, but it's still a major player.
It is, don't underestimate the power of email. It might not be the flashiest marketing channel, but it can be incredibly effective when done right. And the book highlights key metrics here, like open rates, click-through rates,
Hmm.
and conversion rates for those email campaigns.
So you're really looking at how people are interacting with your emails. Are they opening them? Are they clicking on links? And are they ultimately taking those actions that you want them to take?
Exactly. And just like with websites, you can use A/B testing to experiment with different elements of your emails, like subject lines, calls to action, or even the design and layout.
Right. A/B testing, that's where you send out like two slightly different versions of an email and see which one performs better.
That's right. It's a data-driven way to continuously improve your email marketing efforts and get the most out of your campaigns.
It's like having this built-in laboratory for your email marketing.
I like that.
Okay, so we've covered website traffic conversions, e-commerce, email. What about the elephant in the room, social media? It feels like there are like a million different metrics for social media, which can be really overwhelming.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's easy to get lost in a sea of likes and followers, shares, and comments. But as always, the book emphasizes focusing on those metrics that align with your specific business goals.
Right, so if your goal is to build brand awareness, you might focus on metrics like reach and engagement.
Exactly. Reach tells you how many people are seeing your content. Engagement measures how they're interacting with it. Are they liking, commenting, sharing, or clicking on links?
And if you're trying to drive website traffic or generate leads, you'd look at things like click-through rates and conversions from your social media posts.
Exactly. It's all about aligning your metrics with your objectives and using data to track your progress.
This is starting to make a lot more sense. But there's one final piece of the puzzle I'm curious about: the connection between marketing and finance. It seems like these two departments often speak different languages.
It's a common challenge, but it doesn't have to be that way. And the book dedicates a whole chapter to bridging this gap, highlighting metrics that both sides can understand and use to make more informed decisions.
Okay, so what are some of those key metrics that can bring marketing and finance together, speaking a common language, so to speak?
Well, metrics like return on investment, or ROI, net present value, or NPV, and internal rate of return, or IRR, are crucial for evaluating the financial viability of marketing initiatives.
I've heard of ROI before, but NPV and IRR sound a little intimidating.
They might sound complex, but they're essentially tools for assessing the profitability of an investment over time, taking into account factors like the time value of money. Think about it this way. Would you rather have $100 today or $100 a year from now?
I'd definitely rather have it today.
Exactly. A dollar today is worth more than a dollar in the future because you can invest that dollar today and earn a return on it. NPV and IRR help us take this concept into account when evaluating those marketing initiatives.
So it's about looking at that long-term financial impact of your marketing decisions.
Exactly, go. Those metrics help you make a compelling business case for your marketing initiatives and demonstrate their impact on the bottom line.
This is all incredibly valuable information. It's amazing how this book connects the dots between these seemingly disparate areas like marketing and finance.
It's all part of a holistic view of business performance. And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore how marketing metrics can be used to create that complete picture and guide strategic decision-making.
Welcome back to our deep dive on marketing metrics.
Yes.
We've covered so much ground, from like those foundational metrics to the nuances of that digital landscape. But now it's time to kind of zoom out and see how all these pieces fit together.
Right. It's like we've been gathering all these individual puzzle pieces, and now it's time to assemble them into that complete picture.
And the book refers to this process as the marketing metrics X-ray. Sounds kind of intense. What exactly does that mean?
Well, the marketing metrics X-ray is a really powerful framework for diagnosing the health of your business. It's about going beyond just looking at isolated metrics and seeing how they connect and interact to reveal those underlying drivers of performance, both strengths and weaknesses.
Oh, it's like those medical dramas where they use like all those different scans and tests to try to pinpoint what's really causing the patient's symptoms.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. You're piecing together all these different data points to uncover the story behind the numbers. For example, a company might appear to be struggling based on those traditional financial metrics, but a closer look at things like customer profitability and lifetime value could reveal hidden strengths.
So interesting. It shows how just like narrowly focusing on those financial metrics can really give you a skewed perspective.
Exactly. Marketing metrics broaden your perspective, reveal that full picture, and allow for more informed decisions. The book also emphasizes the importance of testing and experimentation to validate those assumptions and continually improve those marketing efforts.
So it's not just about collecting data, it's about using that data to learn and adapt and evolve your
So
strategies.
it's like applying the scientific method to marketing. You form hypotheses, test them rigorously, and then refine your approach based on the results.
I love that. And this all ties back to that final chapter, which focuses on building a system of metrics. And it seems like the key takeaway there is really about creating that structured framework to track, analyze, and make sense of all this data.
Yeah, that's the essence of it. A well-defined system ensures you're measuring the right things and that those metrics actually align with your overall business goals.
Mm.
The book introduces this concept of identities,
Hmm.
which are basically mathematical relationships between different metrics.
Identities. Okay, that sounds a little technical. Can you give me an example?
Yeah, so like a simple identity is that relationship between sales quantity and price. So sales equals quantity times price. Might seem obvious, but it highlights how changes in one metric can directly impact the others.
Right. So if sales are declining, you could use that identity to pinpoint. Is it because we're selling fewer units, or is it because our selling price has gone down?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Identities break down these complex metrics
Hmm.
into their core components, revealing how they interact and influence each other.
And I'm starting to see how these identities can really help you analyze data and identify those real drivers of performance. Now, the book also talks about using them to build marketing mix models. Those sound pretty sophisticated.
Yeah, marketing mix models are powerful tools for understanding how different marketing activities impact sales and profitability. They use statistical techniques to really isolate those effects of different factors, like pricing, advertising, and promotions.
So if I'm trying to decide, how to allocate my marketing budget, a marketing mix model could help me see which activities are going to give me the biggest bang for my buck.
Yeah, that's the goal. It's about using data to make those strategic decisions and really optimize those marketing investments.
Wow, this deep dive has been such an incredible journey. We've gone from like those basic concepts to some seriously advanced stuff. And I feel like I've gained a whole new understanding of marketing metrics.
It's been great. And it's clear from this book that marketing metrics aren't just for like data analysts. They're essential tools for anyone involved in making marketing decisions.
Totally. And that's such a powerful takeaway. Metrics empower marketers to make those informed, data-driven decisions, demonstrate their impact, and ultimately drive business success.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So this deep dive, it's just the beginning. We really encourage you to keep digging deeper and see how you can use metrics to, gain those insights and fuel that growth in your own business.
Yeah, keep exploring and keep learning.
And on that note, we'll see you next time for another deep dive.